Good morning. Thank you for joining with me today. My name is Karen. I hope you're having a wonderful week. We have been looking in the book of First Peter, and we're going to begin in chapter 3 today. So go get your Bibles, and we're going to read the first 7 verses of what wives and husbands should be in their heart towards each other. God has established the marriage between a woman and a man, and the covering that a woman has is her husband. And so we're going to dive into that. Even if your husband is not a believer or your wife is not a believer, these are still good things that we need to do to win them to Christ so that way we can live honorably to God. So let's look at verse 1 in chapter 3 of First Peter. It reads, "In the same way, you wives must accept the authority of your husbands, even those who refuse to accept the good news. Your godly lives will speak to them better than any words. They will be won over by watching your pure, godly behavior. Don't be concerned about the outward beauty that depends on fancy hairstyles, expensive jewelry, or beautiful clothes. You should be known for the beauty that comes from within, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is so precious to God. That is the way the holy women of old made themselves beautiful. They trusted God and accepted the authority of their husbands. For instance, Sarah obeyed her husband Abraham when she called him her master. You are her daughters when you do what is right, without fear of what your husbands might do. Verse 7. In the same way, you husbands must give honor to your wives. Treat her with understanding as you live together. She may be weaker than you are, but she is your equal partner in God's gift of new life. If you don't treat her as you should, your prayers will not be heard. Let's dive into this here. God has placed man, because he was made first, to be the head of that family. You see, Adam, he answered to God, and Eve answered to her husband. But we sometimes look at it as, oh, well, they're going to have control over me or whatever. No, it's an equal partnership. We each have our different gifts, but they intertwine. But when we submit to what God has established and say, God, I'm going to trust you. I don't understand why these things are happening or whatever. God's going to bless us when we submit ourselves to the authority of our husband. In my own personal family here, I always don't always have the quiet spirit, the gentleness, because that's not my personality here. But I can have that gentle, quiet spirit and say, honey, whatever you want, I'm going to submit to you because that is what I'm supposed to do. I'm submitting as if unto God. But you have a responsibility to care for me, for the family, and so on and so forth here. And God speaks with my husband. So if he knows that something's not right, he takes heed. So it's not like we're being walked over, nothing like that here. We are equal. We are gifted in different ways, but when we come together, there's something special. It says, even if your husband is not a believer, your actions are going to speak so much louder than what we say. And I know we can say a lot, right? But you know what? Leave that in God's hands. Trust Him to change your husband's heart or whatever the case is here. But it is our pure godly behavior that we are striving for. God, I'm going to submit. I want to be loving. I want you to live through me here. And it's a daily process. It's a moment by moment thing. So it also says here in verse 3, don't worry about your fancy hairdos, your jewelry, and your clothes. That's not what makes us beautiful here. There's something beautiful when a Christian woman comes and serves. There's a natural beauty inside that permeates. Not saying that we're not supposed to have nice hairstyles, nice clothes, or jewelry. Not saying that at all. That's not what makes us beautiful. It's Jesus inside of us that makes us beautiful, makes us radiant. I know when I was first saved and I would see people and they're like, there's something different about you. There's a glow about you. And that's Jesus. He is what makes us attractive. Now, it says here, you should be known for the beauty that comes from within, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is so precious to God here. If we're taking our needs to the Lord and spending that time with the Lord, it's just going to come out. And just like Sarah, she submitted to her husband Abraham. She called him master. I don't call my husband master, but he is the head of my family. Now, I had a spiritual mentor, still do, when I was first married with my husband, Paul, and he told me that my husband is my covering. It's like a tree with leaves all over you here. If I keep criticizing him, putting him down, I'm pulling those leaves off of my covering. We're exposing them. We're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to uplift them and let them have a confidence that, yes, my wife loves me. She cares about me. I have a safe place there, and they can open up and do those things. So don't pull those leaves off of that covering. And just as Sarah said, Master, I'm submitting to you here. We are supposed to do the exact same way here. We're submitting to the Lord. Even if our husbands don't treat us right and they're trying to hit it right on, you know what I'm saying? God says, I'm working on them as I'm working on you. So let God do his work. Now, verse 7, husbands must honor their wives as well here. When the Lord told the woman to love her husband, but the husband to honor, it's a struggle. We're supposed to respect our husbands because it's natural for us to love. I think I mixed those up. I apologize for that here. It said to the husbands, love your wives, and wives respect your husbands. Husbands need respect, but we need that love. We need an understanding. They are supposed to honor us as well. Treat her with understanding as you live together. She may be weaker than you physically. I'm not a bodybuilder, and but the man has got the muscles, right? And I'm not trying to start anything here or say anything, but we are a weaker vessel in that response here. We are also more emotional. That's it here. But it says to the husband here, she is your equal partner in God's gift of new life here. There's not one's higher than the other here. I submit so that way we stay strong here, but it's a blessing. But if the husband doesn't treat her as they should, God can't hear their prayers. So if they're trying for breakthrough or whatever here, but they're treating their wives disrespectfully here, God says, nope, you got to take care of business with your spouse, with your wife, make things right, and then I'll hear your prayers, and then I will answer. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I know it seems hard, but God put us together. Let us strive to do what we need to do here. As if it's too hard because we are madly in love with our spouse, I mean, next year I'm 25 years with the same guy here. And God, he says, I want you to be more in love with each other at the end than when you first started here. And so that's what we need to do. Let Jesus shine through us and treat each other equally and with respect and honor and understanding. I pray that you have a blessed week, and I'll see you next Friday. God bless.